The Super Bowl is tomorrow, and I decided I wanted to make a Photoshop poster to celebrate it. I have less than 24 hours before the game starts, and then to come up with a concept idea, find photos, create a background, and edit everything all together. And again, we're trying to do this all before the game starts at 3 p.m. tomorrow. So without wasting any time, let's get into the concept idea. I'll give myself around 5 minutes for the sketch, and I'll be using Procreate on my iPad for sketch creation. I honestly started off with making the floor and drawing it, right? Of like, what would Arizona look like? And to me, Arizona's just a bunch of desert, right? Tumbleweeds, cactus, what else? Not much, I don't think. And so I put people down because for this Super Bowl edit, I didn't know what I wanted to do necessarily, but I wanted to kind of make it like, oh my God, that was loud. Anyways, I wanted to make it like they were playing in Arizona so you can tell the environment, the landscape was Arizona. And then somehow try to incorporate like the arena into it as well. Shut up. Why am I don't care. Why are you? Yo, why is everybody going live? I get it. Shut up. And so I want to put the sky, put a little star, kind of make it like, I don't know if it's nighttime. And the people that I have, they're going to be players, right? My original idea was going to have like Eagles fight Chiefs. But then I realized that Chiefs is kind of like racist. I actually had a cool idea to make the Eagles look like, you know, what's his name? The Falcon? You know, with like a robotic jetpack, a bird engine thingo. You know, like that would have been cool. That would have been cool to see, I thought. But then I'm like, I didn't want to draw, you know, the Chiefs players as Chiefs because that'd be like kind of racist. So like, I was like, fuck, we gotta scrap that idea. But so instead, we're just gonna have the players just not in stuff, not in like complete outfits. I feel like that idea was way too big of an idea anyways. I was pushing myself. I'm not even that good at Photoshop, so I'm kind of pushing myself anyways. And yeah, this is what we came up with as our final concept design, guys. What y'all thinking? You know, to be honest, I think it looks fucking shit, but it's our shit, and so we need to, you know, take this shit and then work with it. You know what I'm saying? Take our shit and work with it the best way we can. Now that we have a rough concept of what we want to do, let's go get some photos. And you know our homie Google always got to hook us up with the saucy pics. After Google finally sent us the folder, we finally open it up and we see that we have a few pictures of landscapes and a couple players that we're going to use. Also named the folder SB 57 so we don't get confused with, you know, the rest of the folders we have. Sometimes you don't want to actually mix this up with one of your porn folders, you know, that'd be embarrassing. To accidentally open up porn on a video would be pretty embarrassing. So label your folders. All right, guys, now let's take the concept sketch into Photoshop, but I'm gonna be honest, I'm too lazy to actually import it into Photoshop. I'm gonna just be looking at it via my phone, you know. But like, if you are like also working on a piece or also trying to work on this piece as well or something like that, you can actually upload it into Photoshop and then like work on your background base like that. But I don't actually have like guidelines that I'm going for. I'm too lazy to import it. All right, too lazy. So let's go. Let's open up. Let's open up Photoshop. So we're gonna select a file. It's gonna be new. I usually use this size because this is I think the size of IG. So yeah, and then you can change the name of your file to be like whatever. I'm gonna just name it Super Bowl. Make it simple for us right here. Create, boom. And if you open up your Finder, you can see we have the folder with, you know, some of our photos of landscapes in forest stuff, you know, whatever. And you bring them in. All right. So look, we have these photos. And what I'm going to do is cut them out and then place them where I want them. So we can actually make a landscape using all of these different photos. Like going back to the sketch, different levels so the players aren't necessarily on the same level, but like they all look like they're in the middle of a game, but they're actually playing outside of the stadium. So that's the like whole point of what we're trying to do. I'll get into making these, probably time lapse that, and then start building into maybe the entire background, right? Okay guys, so now we're gonna break down all the layers that took to make this background. And if you open up this ground layer, you'll see that we have 2 color lookups and 2 more folders with foreground and background. I'm gonna turn off all the layers, start this from the ground up, but break it down from the beginning. Starting with the sky, which is very easy. I started with a solid black color for the background, then I had a gradient map that was kind of set from black to red, then an orange, then a white, and I kind of shifted it around so it's put into a smart object. Then we also had, you know, some speckles. Yep, they're not stars or speckles. Our homie Google said that stars are gonna cost too much due to inflation, so we couldn't afford them. So we're using speckles instead of stars. Anyways, that's the sky, which I told you was pretty quick, fairly quick. Now let's get into what we all really been waiting for. That good old Arizona ground. Which this is what the ground looks like, and we can kind of zoom out so you can see the whole thing with the sky. If you open up this layer, you can see the ground layer, which is actually made up of 5 other layers, which if we turn them all off, you see there's the bottom ground, the mid ground, the top ground, the behind arena ground, and then the arena that goes right in between it, right there. And so that is what all the grounds look like, and I kind of color matched them because I'll show you what they look like without all the color corrections that I used. This is what it looked like before I color corrected anything. After you do your color correction, everything looks more cohesive and actually looks like it kind of blends in more. Obviously, this is not really finally finished, but it got it to a color that I enjoyed. Anyways, that is the ground and the arena that we put together, and now we have to do the lighting to actually make it match the sky in the background now, which I darkened up the whole layer, all of them in general. And you put these all in a smart object so I can just edit them all at the same time instead of doing one by one. That's why I made it a smart object. Then I had an extra darkening to actually darken it up more, because these places where the rocks actually appear, there won't be any light because the light is coming from behind. And so we had more layers to just darken it up more, and then a layer to add some kind of a rustic feel to this side of the arena. Then we added the highlights to all the rocks, like of the light emitting from behind. And then we have a layer that is just a shining light right here that is gonna just be in front of the background but behind the players, so this light also emits onto the players. And that's the whole background. But now let's get into the foreground. Right, and the foreground is made up of just 2 pieces, a cactus and a bush. Let's open up the bush. The bush is right here in this corner. I darkened it up, then added a little bit of highlights just to add a little bit of the light coming off of it. And then for the cactus, I have it right here. I added a Gaussian. How do you say that word? Gaussian? 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 I don't know how to say it, but a Gaussian blur or whatever. I added that type of blur to put it out of focus, to act like it's too close to the lens or the camera. And then I added a curves layer that darkens it all up, because again, this side of the cactus isn't in the light, broski. There we have the foreground and the background are now actually completed. And then I added a couple color lookups, which if we open it up and see, this one is the Kodak 5218 2395. And for the other one, I used this Fuji f125 Kodak 2395. So I used both of the Kodak 2395s. I set this one to the the fill to 50. And so yeah, that's the background. The background is now complete. You know, now with the background cover, we can work on the players. But I'm gonna be honest, I'm tired. It's almost midnight, and I spent nearly 5 hours working on just putting this all together and like making this background. So, you know, I'm about to go to bed, but I'll pick this back up early in the morning so we can make sure we finish this and have enough time to get it all done before the game starts tomorrow.
The following day.
All right, guys. Good news and bad news. Good news, I woke up. Bad news, I woke up at 11:57. All right, meaning we only have about 3 hours left to finish this edit before the game starts. So, cue the time-lapse music. Okay, so it's like 2:54 p.m. and we did complete it. At least to where I'm happy enough to post it. I hope no one sees the flaws. Yeah, I also had to, do a shirt change because, the blue one's getting kind of musty. But anyways, let me break down the whole edit for you. See, now instead of just 2 folders, we got a whole boatload. And I'm just about to turn off all these layers and just break it down from the beginning again. And the next player we're gonna focus on is the second QB in this Super Bowl, Jalen Hurts, which he's over here. One thing I actually did was mask out his foot because these cacti are actually a part of the background layer, so I have to mask out his foot, and you can kind of see it is still kind of see-through here, and I didn't do that good of a job masking it out, but hey, who cares? But you have him right there. Then I also added the same tint that I added to Mahomes to kind of warm him up, then the shadow layer to actually add the shadows in, and then I also darkened in a few other players. I said other players. I darkened in a few other places, and then we had the highlight layer to lighten up areas around him for where the light was coming in, and then more to just add it to make it look just more highlighty. And then you add a little haze over it all to kind of put him within the atmosphere. And then that makes up Jalen Hurts. And then the next person we got is Travis Kelce. And where Travis Kelce's actually is right here, right in front. And I kind of did the same thing. We're trying to mask out his leg from this cactus, so it looks like he's jumping in front of that rock, which used to actually be a whole mountain if you saw the original photos. He was kind of a little bit too dark, so I lined him up with a levels layer, and then I used a tint to, warm him up. Without the tint, he looked kind of too dark for me. No racism. And so lighting him up, and then I also did a curse layer to darken up his visor, and I'm gonna tell you the reason why I did that later. And then the shadow layers, to darken up the front of his jersey because there's no light hitting it. Then some other layers to darken up near his leg, and then we had the layers to start to lighten up and started adding the highlights, and then more highlights around him up here. And then we also added a haze to put him more into the atmosphere as well. And the first layer in our overlay folder is a circle vignette that I have around all the players that is set to darken and kind of blows out all the edges here, which kind of ties the focus back more into the middle, which is what I was trying to do, and kind of make this top area more available for text, which is what we're gonna add, as you will see. Then I added another vignette from the bottom to just kind of gray out the bottom so I can add text down there, and I added a levels layer to kind of darken it so it's not as hazy as it just was. And those are all the vignette layers. Then this is where we have the text, where I have the Sunday, February 12th, which today we put the Eagles logo and Chiefs logo to let you know which teams are playing, and add a levels layer that kind of is to lower the brightness of the whole layer of all the text because it was looking kind of too bright. And then after the text, I have lens dirt thrown on the whole thing, which is just so I just searched up online, Google, found some dirt, threw it on the lens, took a photo, and sent it to us. That's what I meant. Anyways, we also have some more dust layers, which I put one on the top and I put one at the bottom. But right here, you see those lines? I use a levels layer to, make those lines disappear, so you don't see the lines of where that image ends, to really tie the focus back into the middle. And so those are all the dirt and dust layers. And then we have a couple color lookups that I added to darken the color, but I felt like this made it too rich, so I added another color lookup to make it more warm, and then one to brighten it back up. And if you want to know what these color lookups are, I once again use the Kodak 2395 fall colors set to fill 50, and then an edgy amber set to fill 75. So those are all the color lookups. And then for the Super Bowl text, this is really just an image that I just set to screen. I took this off of an IG post, cropped it, set it to screen, and then I added a gradient map over it to kind of bring back some of the burnt out edges that was actually on the image to make it kind of cool. And it also got rid of the box around it. So that's how I took that quick, because I was running out of time near the end of making this edit, and I didn't have enough time to make my own Super Bowl text, so I just took one that I saw online, and that's the whole overlays folder. But then there's the more overlays folder, which just contains my logo, which I just put right here near AJ Brown's hand. And then I have a gradient map that I set to the team's colors, green for the Eagles on this side and then red for the Chiefs on this side. And then I have a color lookup to line up the whole image, and I'm pretty sure that it's set to 2395. Nope, it's set to futuristic bleak. I had to fill a 25 because I'm pretty sure this fill at all the way up would be insane, right? Yep, it really blows out the image. So I didn't want it to blow it out that insanely, so I set it to 25. And then I had a rectangle just to tie the whole image together because I love framing all my images. You know, I don't know, I put a rectangle around all my edits. I don't know, it makes it feel more like bordered, centered. I don't know. But yeah, all my pieces have a rectangle in them, just like some of my pieces that I made for Black History Month. Love me some rectangles, man. But yeah, the game's about to start in like 15 minutes or so. But yeah, thank you for joining me and watching me make this before the game starts. It was a fun experience, and I can show you what it looked like as a concept sketch to the finished edit. I'll put them side by side. If you enjoyed the content, leave a like and comment. Tell me what you liked or what you hated. I guess, you know, constructive criticism is good too. But, you know, that doesn't matter. Let's go watch these Eagles win, am I right?